Hey everybody, it's it's September 27th, 2016. A lot of things going on. We are getting ready, right, for our Agents of Change Symposium. We're having one before January for a group of Haitians that are coming over. So we're getting ready for that as well. I'm working on my book. I'm growing a baby. She kind of grows herself, but I help in the process, right? Thank goodness. And I see everybody's joining us. Oh yeah, Susan in Omaha, they just finished Shake the Nations last week. I heard it was amazing. A lot of my friends were there. Jay in Detroit is on. Woo, woo, woo. Karen in North Carolina. Oh, Mr. Victor in Sweden's on. Yay! I think Victor's coming to visit us in January for our Agents of Change Symposium. Nicole from Charleston, North Carolina. She's definitely an agent of change. Hannah in Maryland. Damien from North Carolina. We got a lot of people in North Carolina. Corinne. Hi, Corinne. Good seeing you here today. And of course, the Longs in Indiana. Oh, and Paulette's on again in the Bahamas. We like our Bahamian sisters, don't we? Yes. Woo, 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 woo. I'll have to teach her how to do Junkanoo later, because Papa taught me Junkanoo. We'll go boo, 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 with a cowbell. Okay. Oh, and Denise. I don't want to miss Denise in North Carolina as well. Okay, we have an exciting, powerful webinar today, because a lot of you know that I sent out a survey, and Shiloh's getting excited. We sent out a survey regarding the hindrance when it comes to vision. She likes that. She's a little daredevil. And I was quite amazed. Oh, Sadie's on. Say hi to Sadie. Sadie, your sister's on. She's up in Maryland. She moved. She's far away now. Yes. Oh, and the girls in New Jersey are on. Oh, and Maurice from Netherlands. We love our European people. So I was quite surprised in a way. All right, we're going to say goodbye. Say bye-bye, Shiloh. Okay, she don't want to go. Maybe when you can start talking, you can share with us what it's like to live in the Craig house, all the excitement that goes on. I was quite surprised when I saw the results, but then again, we opened up everybody to take the survey. So it included people that were not in the School of Influence. So we're gonna go over some of those results, and I may spend the rest of the year just talking about one of my favorite topics, which is vision. I'm actually writing about my experience when it comes to vision in my book. I'm almost done with it. So it's going to be a very different book. I'm not talking about the methods or in theory how vision works, but I'm talking about my experience and how I've lived it out. So I did want to incorporate that in our webinars going forward, especially leading up to our Agents of Change Symposium. I'm still downloading ideas all the time, every day for the symposium. And I'm still working on the vastness of what we're going to do when it comes to the symposium. Now, again, there's 3 requirements for those of you that are interested in coming, because this is not a conference. Yes, there will be learning modules and workshops, but I think the time for conferences is come to an end. The church has been doing it. Not that you can't have conferences anymore, but for me, I think where I'm at in my life and in the vision, it's time to implement something beyond a conference. We need to gather people that can bring their gifts, their purpose, their vision to the table, thus to live out the corporate vision. And that's very important if we are citizens of heaven, called ambassadors of heaven here on earth. It's very important that we get together, and you can garner more influence in the world when you do things corporately. And you know who is doing this on a scale that we have not seen yet in history is the terrorists. They are being more influential than the ecclesia. And so I'm very saddened by this. So there has to be a response to it. And I understand what that means and what that looks like. And if you haven't watched a webinar I did in November, December last year, it was called Understanding the Times and Know What to Do. So that's one of the biggest hit webinars that I've ever done. Thousands and thousands of people watched it. But we do have to understand the times that we're in. Now, a lot of us know it was a historical debate last night. I've been watching the news on everybody's dissertation regarding the debate, everyone's thoughts. And when it's all said and done, you know, those of us who live in America, I know other people are joining us from outside, but we do live in a system of globalization nowadays. So whatever happens to one country affects all the countries. Britain, Greece, we've seen things in the past. So it's very important that we understand these things. However, we do live in a different government system. We are in this, but we are not of it, okay? So we live in democracy here in America, but we're not of it. So we don't think and we don't participate to the degree that we do with understanding the kingdom of God, that it is a government. So although we are affected by what's going on in the country that we live in, however, ultimately we are unaffected because we operate in a completely different system that is out of this world. So make sure you're tapped in and you won't be so concerned and worried or apprehensive about the future, okay? Agents of change, we are called to create the future. And that is created when you're living your life vision. You create your own vision, and then us coming together corporately, we do it and engaging other nations and engaging the mindsets of people. That's how you change the world, is getting the proper mindset and training other people in the proper mindset. So in order for us to go forward and to train others with the proper mindset to change the destiny of nations, we ourselves have to have the correct mindset. All right, if we suffer from an oppressed mindset, how can we help others that have been oppressed? And majority of people on the earth have been oppressed in one form or another. We're all suffering from the wrong mentality and not knowing our identity, not living a purposeful life, and not living a life where we are affecting our generation. Most people are just living for themselves. And this is very frustrating for me because coming from the church, an organized religion, it's very frustrating because it was all about me, 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 me. And then when I started understanding the kingdom and living out my vision, I realized it's about other people. So your focus completely changes. My mentality completely changed from an inward focus to an outward one. And as agents of change, we are called to affect the nations. We are called to affect our generation. And that is what we are called to do. So I'm inviting everybody who is serious about doing that to join us in the Agents of Change Symposium. And there's 3 steps you have to do to qualify you to join us. Number 1, you must take course 1, 2, and 3, complete the reading assignments, and do the homework. This is imperative. Where we're going requires people who know who they are and what they were born to do. Those people that are dedicated to it, that have initiative to accomplish it. Step number 2, answer the questions that we send you in a survey once you register with us, register for the symposium, and submit your life purpose and vision by December 1st. So at any point in time, you can register for the conference as long as you know you are going to complete course 1 through 3. And it needs to be completed by December 1st because you have to submit your purpose and your documented life vision. You have to submit it by December 1st. So get on the bandwagon. You still have time. There's 2 months. You have the full month of October and November to do this. So we are diligent ambassadors. We don't sit around and wait for people to tell us what to do. You have initiative. Erica's in Atlanta. Hey, Erica. Atlanta's in the house, and Beverly in Mississippi. So we're so glad you guys are joining us. The 3rd criteria to coming to the symposium: you must be abandoned to your vision. I don't want people coming to sit and observe and just to learn. We are learning for a reason. You have the kingdom for a reason. You have your life purpose for a reason. You must activate these things in your life. So there's a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. There's a method to the madness, right? So it's very important you're abandoned to your vision. What that means is you live on and off your vision. It consumes you. Yes, you have your responsibilities of life. Yes, you have to raise your family. You have to go to your job if you're still in a job, if you haven't deployed yourself into your life vision. But you must be committed to abandon yourself to your life vision. And I promise you guys this, when you do this, that's when you truly start living. You are not living life. I am convinced you have no idea what the abundant life means. I don't care how much money is in your bank account, what zip code you live in, how shiny your car is. You do not have the abundant life until you are abandoned to something bigger than yourself. And that's vision. I'm living it. I'm writing about it in my book, and I can't help talking about it because I get it. I get it. So we're going to start a new series, as you guys saw on social media, titled Dream Big, Build Small. And this is going to help you with your mindset when it comes to implementing your vision. Because what happens is we dream big and try to build big. And it doesn't work like that. We're humans. There's a process. Development is a process. Whatever God put in Shiloh to manifest in her potential is there. But she starts small. She starts as a baby and develops into childhood, develops into adolescence, develops into young adult, and then you develop into adulthood. Jesus Christ himself had to go through the process. Adam did not go through that process, and he failed the first test that he was met with. And Jesus was not even trusted with his life assignment until he was tested. He was anointed, the dove showed up, he was submitted to authority, he was living the principles, but he had to be tested. So God had to test his own son before he could entrust him with the weight of the vision. This was important. So the same thing is with us. We dream big, we have our potential, we know our purpose, our vision, but you have to start small. You build small. And that is the way that progress is organic. It's natural. You learn from your mistakes. You maybe divert your course just a little bit, or your plans divert a little bit. Okay? So this is very important. So the most frustrated person in the world, which I saw a lot of you that did the survey, is someone who has a dream but doesn't know how to make it come to pass. You're born with it inside of you. And a lot of times we're educated out of it. And in that process of educating ourselves out of our dream, we've been educated out of ourselves. Your vision, your dream, and you are the same. You are not your full embodiment of who you are until you are living out your vision. Because when you are living out your vision, you are becoming yourself through your life work. And there is nothing as satisfying on the planet as you becoming yourself. As you are working out the vision in the process that God has for you. But this is the thing. You have to initiate it. You have to start somewhere with something. As long as it remains in your head, you have not dedicated yourself to life. And this is the problem most people face, is they have this dream, this idea that nags them. They may put it on the back burner for years. They have children, they're raising, they get small, then the children are out of the house, whatever. And then they're like, okay, now what? I promise you, I will not have that problem because I am working and living, becoming myself and working out my vision while I'm still abandoned to the responsibilities that I am created to partake in. My husband, the hotel, our office, the children. So we all have responsibilities, but we all have to put it in context. But you have to set your priorities. And your priorities may change day to day or fluctuate. Let me put the word fluctuate there for a season. Okay? Say, for instance, like somebody in your family is tragically ill. You have to take care of that. Or something happens to you, you have to get your health in order. Your season may change when it comes to, for instance, when I had a baby. So leading up to me having a baby, I knew what I had to do the remainder of 2015, because I knew for half of 2016 I would be, what's the word when you can't sleep? Sleep deprived and nursing all the time. So I knew that. So I prepared for that season, but then I knew that season would come to an end. And what gets you through the seasons in life where you have difficulties or crisis that goes on is having a vision. That's the only thing that gets you through a season. The season is guaranteed to end, and vision is the number one component that gets you through it to the other side of it. So here I found a quote by Vincent van Gogh. And this is, if you guys can get this, I'm going to try to make it as simple as I can, because I'm living it. So I want you to get it. I want you to wrap your head around it, because all of us come from different upbringings, different backgrounds, different environments. When you come into the kingdom, you have to change your mentality completely, because we've all been brainwashed the wrong way. So now my job is to wash your brain the right way, okay? And the only way I can do that is share my experience of how I'm living this. And Vincent van Gogh put it beautifully. He says, I dream my painting, then I paint my dream. So he dreamed what he saw, and then he painted what he saw in his dream. So whatever you're dreaming, whatever you're thinking, I'm not talking about hobbies and these little things like that. But whatever you're seeing, so he says, I dream my painting. He's dreaming what he sees himself doing. And then he paints it. Then he does it. He initiates it. He activates it. He does it. So if you qualify as just a dreamer, if you never take the time to plan for your dream. This, I think, is the number one problem that people have. They have a dream, but you're only a dreamer if you never document your dream. You must sit down, write it down on paper, whatever it is. Get it out. Work through it. Come back to it. Get on what I did in 2010. I was on vacation. I sat overlooking the Mediterranean. I got my laptop out, and okay, what is it I was born to do? What is it that I love doing? What is it that makes me come alive when I'm doing it? What is it that I do that nobody has to pay me to do? I do it for free. What is it I love doing more than anything? And okay, this is it. Now, how can I do this for a purpose, for a reason? What is the purpose of me having this gifting? Okay, I love teaching. I'm teaching you guys right now. You can tell I love doing it because I'm just sharing my life experience. I love sharing what I'm learning because it works. Maurice says Vincent is a Dutchman. Yes, you're in good company, Maurice. She's from the Netherlands. So it's very important you write down what it is you were born to do and you choose to do it, okay? Most people sit around and waiting for God to write it down for them or to hear an audible voice, because that's kind of what religion taught us, right? So here's what Proverbs says about planning. And you have to understand how important it is. I was not trained to plan until I joined the mentorship program. Then I understood the importance of it. Proverbs 21:5, good planning and hard work lead to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts lead to poverty. I could write a book about that. That's a loaded statement. The other version, that's the New Living Translation, the other version, the NIV, says the plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. So diligence is conscientiousness in one's work or duties. So if you're just going to work to pay your bills, that's boring. There's no meaning in that. There's nothing you will get out of that except misery, because you hate going to your job, you hate Monday mornings, and there's just no point because you're just doing it to pay your bills. Whereas if you understand you're working, becoming yourself in your life work, that leads to profit. But you must be diligent. but you must initiate a plan. You have to write a plan down. If you aren't writing a plan, I think it's Benjamin Franklin says, if you don't write a plan, you plan to fail. If you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. Something like that. So good planning and hard work, those two things combined, lead to prosperity. Hasty shortcuts, let me tell you something. I get emails, I get people inboxing me. Everyone's looking for shortcuts. Religious people want shortcuts. All right, maybe if I give some money over here, that's my golden ticket. You know, maybe I'll win the lottery. You know, that's that lottery mentality. And whereas God laid out the principles in the Word of God that are guaranteed to work. So just work the principles. And that's what I'm teaching you today. The principle of planning. It's very obvious what planning will get you. But you must work hard at your plan. So, you know, you can just write it down and leave it on the shelf and nothing will happen. So, but the first thing you have to do is write it down. Now you write down the end result, okay? And then you go back, how do I get to that point? What do I need to start doing now? So if you want to be a public speaker, then okay, you back up and you say, well, maybe I need to join Toastmasters, learn some skills, learn how to open and close and wrap it all up, and learn the skills that are needed. So that's just a very small example of a plan, okay? But of course, a vision is bigger than that, because what's the point of being a public speaker? Just for the point of being popular, for the point of notoriety, or, you know, you're just in it for yourself because you want to be like Tony Robbins, so you're a millionaire. You know, I came across a post this morning I saw, and they're trying to help people become millionaires. All right, it's not hard to become a millionaire. It's a mindset. And there's principles, but what happens is everyone's looking for the shortcuts to be a millionaire. Now, what's the point of you being a millionaire? Why do you want to be a millionaire? That's what I'm asking. Like, what's the point? Is it just for you to consume things for yourself? What are you going to do with that $1 million? Now, the problem that most religious people have is they don't have $1 million because they've been praying for it all their life, but they can't even manage the $1,000 that they get in their paycheck. How do you manage that money? Well, you have a budget, put it towards your bills, and in your budget, you better have a place for tithes and offerings. Because if you don't, you've already canceled yourself from there in kingdom standards. Okay? So don't tell me I don't have money, I don't have time. Are you tithing? There's a reason you don't have money. You're robbing God. So don't come to me with that excuse when you bring it upon yourself. Now you have to plan according to your vision. Here's another scripture I'm going to show you. It's in Proverbs. Proverbs 20:18. Plans are established by seeking advice. Plans go wrong for lack of advice, and many advisors bring good success. So find somebody to advise you, run your idea by, okay? So if you're going into an industry, find somebody in that industry and ask their advice. Seek them out, read their book, whatever it is, find somebody. If you don't know somebody, ask other people. I know a lot of people that come to me, they say, you know, can you help? You know, mostly people in my community here locally. You know, this is my idea, my dream, da da da. And I always happen to know somebody to connect them with to bring it to the next level. And a lot of times that's what it takes. So study the people that God is bringing into your life because He's trying to show you something. That's another key that you need to know. All right, now into the meat of the session today. The focus on this series is dream big, build small, because I'm trying to work on your mentality. You must understand that the vision comes in phases because it is too big for you to comprehend. And if you just focus on the big things, you'll never start the small things. So understand that God will help you in bite-sized pieces. You can't eat a whole big apple pie as a human with one big chomp. You eat it with little bites, right? That's how you do the pie. I'm sure there's a good quote about that somewhere. Debbie, you can find it, post it. So it's very important that we wrap our heads around, dream big, but you start small and you build small. So you need vision to get through the seasons in your life. I did already talk about that. It's very helpful. Now let's go back to the going small. And here's some points about starting small that you need to know. In order to do this, you must ignore the things you could do and focus on what you should be doing. And a lot of people that took this survey have distractions in their life. And they can't get over those distractions. A lot of things that people are helping others with, they were never asked to do. So if you're working on things that nobody even asked you to do, then you're wasting your own time solving other people's problems. It's okay to say no. When I documented my vision, started living it out, I started saying no a lot because I will be preoccupied with a lot of good things and not focused on the right things that God has called me to do unless I said no. You know, a lot of people have good charities, good projects, but which one are you called to support? And another point I want to make when it comes to vision is I have worked at helping other people with their vision. There was a time I put mine on the back burner to put my gifts and my resources into other people being successful in their vision. So I was planting seeds in other people's vision. So this is also key. And that's how corporate vision works. We'll get to corporate vision in a little bit. Now, extraordinary results are directly determined by how narrow you can get your focus. So your job should be to narrow yourself as far down as you can. You need to whittle it down, become very narrow-minded, so you'll know what to say yes and no to. And that's, you know, completely other teaching is, you know, we have so many choices to make every day. And what determines the choices that you make? If you don't have a vision, then there's no standard to making choices from. I've had people come to me, you know, Trista, I have this great opportunity to do this, 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 and they had 3 options for their business. And I said, well, I don't know. You tell me, what's your vision? Once you tell me your vision, the decision will be very clear. And I think a lot of people have missed the forest for the trees because they don't have a big picture. So all they have is a tree standing in front of them and they don't know what to do. So when you see the forest, then you understand, aha, this is the big picture. You back up from here and you start implementing it. So when you go as small as possible, you'll be staring at one thing. What is that one thing you were born to do? Now, in doing that one thing, there may be 2 or 3 different ways you can do it, or 2 or 3 different ways you can implement it. And you can do all of those ways. So for instance, I love teaching about the kingdom. I love teaching business principles, and I'm doing them in different methods. Online, the School of Influence, because I want to create agents of change in their nation. These webinars I'm teaching, I teach through my books. So there's a lot of different ways that I'm using my gift as an outlet. Okay? So that's what I mean when you're focused and you narrow down to one thing. Okay? So I know the end result of what I want my life to look like. And then I backed up and I started from here. So in Luke 10, Jesus made it very simple. Do you guys remember when Martha and Mary were at when Jesus was at their house and Mary was sitting at the feet of Jesus and Martha is getting ready, preparing food for him, taking care of all their needs. I'm sure she cleaned the house. And Jesus said, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but only few things in life are needed, or indeed only one. So focus your life and narrow it down. Martha was busy in the kitchen because she wanted to feed Jesus. Now, did Jesus ever say he was hungry? Did he ever ask for food? Not to our recollection. And she assumed. So a lot of times we assume things, and then we stretch ourselves thin. I get distracted. Listen, if you have a vision, you won't be distracted. If you have a vision, you'll know what to say no to, and you'll know what to say yes to. So here's my point. Dream big and start small. But most of all, just start now. Most people can come up with 100 excuses. Give me your excuse and I will cancel every one. According to this survey and all the responses, you guys gave me a lot of ammunition because I'm going to put it in my book too. I'm going to cancel all these excuses that everybody has. The only legitimate excuse and reason anyone has to not fulfilling their vision, because they're all perceived hindrances. None of these are hindrances. They're all perceived. The only legitimate reason is you have the wrong mindset, wrong attitude, the wrong spirit, the wrong thinking. Thinking, I can't accomplish it. So a lot of people recognize, I just don't have the right mindset. That's why I'm doing these webinars, to help people change their mindset. Washing your brains. It's very important. Let's go to the next. So this is what happens, and this is only from experience, can I tell you this, when you start implementing small pieces of your vision. It's what I call the domino effect. When one thing, the right thing, is set into motion, it topples many things, because vision is in phases. So here's an example of how a single domino can bring down another domino 50% larger than itself. So if you see this little domino down here, he's just 2 inches tall. Now, if he topples over a domino next to him that's 50% larger than him, and that domino topples down and hits a domino next to it that's 50% larger than it, and it goes on, the dominoes, guess what size the dominoes are toppling down when it gets to domino 18? The Leaning Tower of Pisa. That's huge. You start with a little 2-inch domino, and it eventually gets the size of toppling over the Pisa, Leaning Tower of Pisa. By domino number 23, it's the size of the Eiffel Tower. So when you start small, you can achieve large progress, okay? By domino 31, it is the size of Mount Everest. Domino 31. That doesn't even, that just blows my mind. It doesn't even sound right, but it is right when you start with a 2-inch domino. And then by domino 57, it's almost the distance to the moon. This is exactly how vision starts. You see the end result. Hey, I want to go to the moon. And then you start back down here. Okay? And you make the first initial step. Well, for instance, perhaps the first step of going to the moon is you need to understand physics. You need to understand the laws. You need to go to space camp, these kind of things. That's how you work to getting to the moon. Okay. Karen says, I'm in the process of removing myself from others' vision. Very important. Denise says, how do you handle being stretched thin in your everyday life? Jobs, kids, and trying to achieve vision. Denise, that's a very important question, and I'm glad you asked. As a matter of fact, in my book, I'm putting a lot of people's examples of how they've done that. The only thing I can tell you how I've done that is I have had to negate other responsibilities and put them down the totem pole, okay? So for instance, there may be 2 or 3 days in a week that I'm not actively working on my vision. But then I have 5 or 6 days where I can. And it all has to do with my responsibilities of my children, things of that, my household, things of that manner. So you have to make time. It may take you waking up earlier or going to bed later. I get things done when my Maverick's in school and Shiloh's taking a nap. Well, now she's down to 2 naps, maybe 3 a day. So it's really tightened up. And because I have dedicated myself to doing this, God has provided people to help me manage watching Shiloh, watching Maverick when he's out of school. So I'm able to spend more time. Now, if I were to take that time where people are watching my children and I'm off shopping, that's not being diligent with the resources God has given me. So it's so important that you manage the time you have. It's a time management, and it is very difficult when you have children, jobs. It can be a lot. So maybe you have to take an afternoon, okay? The grandparents watch the kids. The dad takes the children to a cartoon movie, something like that. And you say, okay, I have the afternoon. Now, what are you going to do with that afternoon? Are you going to read a book? Or are you going to document your life vision? Or are you going to implement writing that book that you've been talking about for years? Or are you going to start experimenting with that recipe you have for the most amazing apple pie in the world, and you want to do an apple pie business or something? So whatever it is, whatever God's called you to do, if you dedicate your time, okay, God, I'm dedicating, I'm going to accomplish this, and this is my deadline. And the other thing is I have to get my husband in agreement also and working with me on it. Now, this doesn't happen all the time, because when he comes home at night, it's done. All the kids, he's here at night, forget it. There's not much I can do. And if I put them all to bed early, then I may have an hour or two where I can do this. Okay, but it's still, it's very hard. But if you dedicate yourself to doing it, God will make sure it happens some way, somehow. But you just have to start somewhere and show the initiative to do it. And then God will make sure he provides people and resources to help you accomplish what you were born to do, as long as you show dedication to it. Okay? Oh yeah, Susan made a very good point. Papa Miles used to say, do one thing every day towards your vision, even if it is nothing else than a phone call. Now, for instance, sometimes, I bury myself in a book at night when all the lights are out and have my little night light on, because I'm preparing for the Haitian Agents of Change Symposium. I'm doing a lot of that work while I'm writing my book as well, because I have 1 more month, 5 more weeks till they come, and I'm gonna do this to the best of my ability. So I'm working every day on something, no matter what it is. If it's training, I gotta tell you, another thing that I do when I'm putting my makeup on, taking a shower, which have shortened since I have kids. Now it's like I have 15 minutes to do all of that. I used to be able to take my time. I'll have a YouTube going of Papa teaching on a specific topic that I'm trying to wrap my head around and get more understanding of. So there's ways you can do it no matter what it is. You just got to sacrifice something somewhere. And then, of course, they cannot be the responsibilities of you as a wife or a mother and as a provider also. But that will all come into balance when you start implementing little things. Just start somewhere with something that you have. In my book that will be coming out by January 1st is the goal. I have everybody in my team writing from their experience of them either being a single mom or a mom that's working with kids or a mom, stay-at-home mom, how they are implementing their personal life vision in that environment that they're in, according to their responsibilities, and the umbrella of a corporate vision. So this will help many people, no matter what stage of life that you are in. So that book is coming. Now back to the topic here at hand. I want us to take a look at Michael Phelps. Most of us saw the Summer Olympics. Now, some of you don't know, he was diagnosed with ADHD, not able to focus as a child. So his mother decided he needed to spend his energy on something. So he started taking swimming lessons at age 7. And from age 14 until he went to Beijing, which is where everybody where he came on the map and everybody heard his name, he trained 365 days a year. Every day he spent training on his gift. His coach said channeling his energy is one of his strengths. So he channeled everything he had into one thing. This simplifies your life. And now he is known as the most decorated Olympian in history. Now we know him as we see him in this picture. But he did this every day since he was 14 years old. No wonder he's so young and he's ready to retire. He's done this a lot. And now he wants to raise his family. But he lived out his life vision, and he got to where he saw himself, the most decorated Olympian in the history of the Olympics. Will you find the vision where Papa talks about the embassy? Is it on my website? I think it is. I think I just answered my own question. I'll do it on the end. I want to show you guys a video at the end. Okay, now I want to show you guys the survey. Here's the survey results. Find out which page it's on. I think it's on the embassy page. So we sent this survey out. 90 people actually completed it. And according to this survey, the #1 perceived hindrance that people have is the shortage of money or resources. 60% of the 90 people that answered said this was their reason for not really starting, implementing, or initiating much of their vision. So we're going to focus on this today. I want you to understand your attitude is a product of your belief, your thinking. So your belief system develops confidence. Now this is key. I believe I can do whatever God asks me to do because I have confidence in who I am. Because of my upbringing, whatever my dad told me to do, I just did it. He would never explain how to do it. He never explained why to do it. He just said to do it. And I would ask him how to do it, and he would say, figure it out. So this included, when I was broke down on the side of the road and the engine was overheating, he'd say, figure it out. I'd call him for help. I was 16, stranded on I-75 by the trucker stop, and he says, figure it out. One time I took a boat out, and the engine was out, and I had to figure it out. There's nobody that could help me. Okay, so along my life, I had confidence in myself because I knew no matter the task at hand, I had the ability to figure it out. So all the little challenges I faced as I was growing up, I eventually figured them out. I can't say it was always the best way, but I did it and I learned. So because of my experience, I became to believe I could do anything that was asked of me. And because of that, I like challenges. I like hindrances. I like obstacles. I can't say they bring me joy or excitement, but I like the challenge it gives me because this makes me come alive. Okay, let's see what I'm made of. Can I figure this one out? Can I do this? So my attitude is a product of my belief system, which develops confidence. And your belief, how you believe, what you believe about yourself, controls your behavior. So if you grew up in an environment where nobody did anything because of lack of determination or what's that word? Procrastination. That's not even a word in my vocabulary. I don't believe in that word, so it's even hard for me to say. Nobody in my family procrastinated. So to me, that's not even an option. As a matter of fact, I get things done in a fast manner because there's the next thing I have to move on to. And my goal is to get everything off my list so I can get on to the next thing. If I'm held up doing this thing, then I can't get to the next thing. So I'm always living 5 steps ahead and coming back and say, okay, I got to get this done now. Because as soon as this is done, I got to get to the next project. Okay, team, we're working on this now. Now work on it. I'm on to the next thing. Okay, so a lot of us have been hindered by the environment that we grew up in. And now as adults, we procrastinate, we have the wrong attitude, we're distracted, we don't have discipline, because the people in our lives they didn't reflect that, and we didn't see that. But now as an adult, I have good news for you. Research shows your brain is pliable like plastic. You can retrain your thinking. You can retrain the synapses. So if you're a huge procrastinator, you can overcome that. You can retrain your brain to work differently because your brain has certain paths neurologically. You can retrain those. That's the good news, even as an adult. It's hard, don't get me wrong, but you have to change your belief system because your thinking comes from it, your attitude in life. So if you have a vision, you write it down, and then the first distraction, I saw another big thing was distractions. You get distracted easily. You know, it's because you're not focused for whatever reason. And it all has to come with an attitude. And believe me, I've been around people who cannot stay focused and they're distracted by everything. Nothing is more frustrating to me because I'm like, stay at the task at hand. If you're gonna write a book, write the book. Don't wait 5 years. I know somebody that I've been helping, and finally 5 years later, he's been talking about this book. He started it 5 years ago, 2011, okay? And now I heard they got it done, so I'm so excited, and they were gonna send it to me, and I'm still waiting on it because he wanted me to take a look at it, and I'm still waiting on it. So when they called me a few weeks ago saying it was done, I was like, great. Well, I got my book started, I think it's 2 weeks ago tomorrow or 3 weeks ago. No, 2 weeks ago. And I'm way more than halfway done with it, and I'll probably be done with it by the end of this month, or maybe next week. But anyway, whatever you put your mind to, stay diligent, okay? Now, for instance, yesterday afternoon, I didn't get to spend my time writing the book, but I did in the morning, okay? And then yesterday afternoon, I had obligations. This morning, I spent studying and preparing for the webinar today. So I know I only have a few hours the rest of the day till Maverick comes home, Matthew comes home, my day's gone, okay? So I have to whittle it down to a few hours a day in order to be productive. But you have to believe, okay, whatever you believe about a thing is what it is to you. So if a distraction is a hindrance to you and you say you get easily distracted, then that's what it will be to you. But if you understand and recognize a distraction as a distraction and not let it distract you and you stay focused. I know, for instance, if I'm writing my book and I'm on my computer and I see the emails coming through and Facebook inbox messages, they pop up on my screen, I have to turn all those off because those are distractions. So you have to learn to ignore the distractions. And you do have the ability to do that. You are created with an amazing mind. You just have to choose to do it. Now, all of us have different weaknesses in our life. Some of the hindrances were fear. Some are indecisiveness. Some procrastination, distractions, lack of discipline, and time limitations. All right? Give God what time you do have and watch what he'll do with it. And then if you're committed to it, he will give you people and resources to help you get more time as long as it's dedicated towards the vision. So change is only possible when your ideas change, your attitude changes by your belief system, believing in yourself that you can accomplish it. So bottom line is, and you guys need to write this down, put it on your mirror, recite it every day, whatever it is, You are as poor as your thoughts and as wealthy as your vision. So if your thinking is poor, you don't understand how to use money, how it works for you, then you will be poor. And you're only as wealthy as your vision. So those of you that are waiting for money, you will be waiting for the day that you die. You'll be waiting for a long time for the money and resources to come because they won't come if you're sitting around waiting for it. You're only as wealthy as your vision. Write down the vision. Start small. You know, I was thinking this morning about the webinar today, and where we are now, we have more than enough funds for what we're doing. We will need funds as it increases, but right now what we have more than enough. And I'm like, Debbie, this is amazing. I mean, I got to tell you guys, honestly, so many of you around the world that I've never met, I hope to meet one day, are sending in your money. And it's not even the amount. It's just the principle of you guys doing it. Because let me tell you something, everybody that gives towards us, to me, to what we're doing, you will receive a reward because you are doing your part of the vision. It takes money and resources. Now, when it came to Papa's vision, I gave money towards his vision. I gave my time, I gave resources, I wanted to help him get it done. I sowed tons of seeds into his life. Now, some of you are doing the same, and God will make sure your vision comes to pass, and you will have what you need when you need it when it comes to the vision. Because when you help other people fulfill their vision, and you're planting seeds, you're investing in yourself, you're investing in the vision, it's a beautiful thing, and it all just comes back to you. That's not the reason we do it, but that is how it works. So again, the difference between wealth and poverty is sight. A lot of people can't see because they can't see, because they live by what they see. So if you're living by what you see, you'll never see what you're supposed to see. I don't know how else to say it. That's the bottom line. That's why vision is so powerful. I do not live by what I see. I don't live by who's going to be the next president. I don't live by what the terrorists are doing. I'm very well aware of it. You must understand the times so you know what to do. But what I do isn't dependent on what other people do or what's going on. Because I see further than my eyes can see. And I come back and I'm living it. So I'm living 5 years ahead. And then I come back and I implement it. It takes faith to live that way. That's the only way that vision works. So the difference between wealth and poverty, number one, you're only as wealthy as your life vision. And it's based on by what you see. So if you can't see because you're blocked by what you see, then you'll never live. You're just living to survive. And you never will live the abundant life. I'm not even halfway through these slides and we have 5 minutes left. Lord have mercy. Okay. I've got so much to say to you guys. Okay. I'm going to give you a nugget. This nugget is from level, course number 5 in the School of Influence. You guys need to take this school. I'm telling you, this is good stuff. So I'm only going to give you this. There's 12 principles. I'm only going to share with you 4. 12 principles of resources. Kingdom resources and money are given as trust. They're given as a gift. God is watching to see what you're going to do with what he gives you. So the quality of resources you receive is determined according to your ability to manage them. So if you cannot even manage where you are now with what you have, he will never give you more. So I was thinking today, you know, we are operating with on a large scale financially, not huge, but a good amount of money. But it takes money to do things with technology, producing things, video, all these things that we're doing to change the nations, to change the mentalities in the nations, okay? So we have big plans. And what we're doing now, God is providing for by using resources. God's our source, but he uses people as resource. So that's why you'll never hear me once ever ask for money. I've never had to. I have a vision, and God's obligated to it, and people send money from everywhere. And I'm like, this is nuts. I didn't even know these people. I mean, so it's really humbling and an honor that you guys trust me and our team with the resources and the finances that you are sending. But God is in this. But let me tell you, this didn't just start now in 2016. This started back in 2010. Well, actually 2009 when I started the meetings, but 2010 when I became a nonprofit and Kingdom Community was formed. And people started giving tithes and offerings because I was having meetings every week at the hotel. So it all started on a very small scale. I was doing the books. I was counting the money. I was doing the deposits. I was paying the bills. We had one person on staff. I've never taken a salary. I've never taken any money. This isn't for me. This is for the vision. So I've been managing it on a very small scale since 2010, the finances and the resources. My first video camera was given to me. So along the way, as the vision unfolded and the phases of it got bigger and bigger, then we opened our new office. You know what I did last year when it was time to open our office? I went around town looking for office spaces, and I'd ask around. And I was working out in this one place, and they said, "Oh, there's an office space downstairs." And I know the manager of the building, and we'll get you, a deal. It's a small space. And I went and looked at it, and I remember it was about $700 a month. And I said, "Oh, cool." And I took pictures, and I said, "I think we can manage," because we wanted it close to the hotel in downtown where I live, where Debbie was moving and all this. So we knew the proximity we wanted of the office space. And I said, $700 is a little higher than I planned on doing. And then Debbie was coming on board, taking a salary. And again, it's a big, huge price cut, what she was making in corporate America. That's a whole nother story. She will have to do a webinar just on her story one of these days. And so I said, $700 is a little higher, but God will provide. But I think it should be in this area. But we still kept looking. And so I went home that night, and I said, "Matthew, I think I found a new office space." And he's like, "For what?" I go, "The office. We're opening an office." And he says, "Oh, why don't you just take one of the office rooms in my building," where he's renting the whole top floor now as he expanded. And I said, "Oh, you don't have to do that. You need the space. You're expanding on such a big level. He fits 3 to 4 men in each office space." And he goes, "No, Trista, let me give it to you. I want to do that." I was like, "Oh, okay." And that's even closer proximity of where, we were looking. And so now we have free office space. But I wasn't going around asking people for free office space. I was going around by faith. Okay, where can we do this? So it all starts out small, and I initiated. That's the whole point I want to make. I initiated going around looking for office space, asking around people, "Do you know of a good office space? Maybe there's an abandoned building and they'll give us a deal," or whatever it is. But we want it in this neighborhood. So you start somewhere, and God sees, okay, she's dedicated. They're going to open an office. And we did that by faith, only because Papa Miles asked me to. And then he left. And we could have said, "Oh, he's gone. We're not going to do nothing." But no, I was even more determined. We need this now. He's gone. And I thank God he told me to do that, because I don't know how I would have ever come to the conclusion that we needed to do that. I don't know. I'm sure eventually I would have, but Papa made it a lot easier. So the quality of resources you receive is determined according to your ability to manage it. So wherever you are, manage where you are now. And God is watching you. If you can't even manage your 10% tithes and giving it unto God where you get fed, and to give offerings and give unto people, then he can't trust you with much, because you can't even manage the 10% he asked of you. End of story. Point number 4, resources determine your creativity. In the kingdom of God, poverty is a lack of creativity. Whatever it is you have, use what you have. You may say, "Oh, I need a brand new computer in order to do something." Find a used computer. Ask somebody if they're not using a computer. If you have an old one, use it. Do something with what you have. God never gave Adam a tree, but he put everything he needed in that tree, a table and chair. So when Jesus, in the example of the parables, he gave the talents to the servants, he never told them how to multiply them. He gave them the responsibility to use their own creativity to multiply it. And wickedness and laziness, according to Jesus, is defined as not using your brain. You're lazy and you're wicked. You're not even thinking. Nothing drives me more crazy than people who don't think for themselves, or just don't think, period. Drives me nuts. Like, use your brain. You sitting around lazy, waiting for someone to tell you what to do. You have no initiative. You have no plan. You have nothing. All you're doing is going to a job, punching a clock, going home, sitting back. It's like the Married with Children, your big belly sticking out your hand in your pants, and you're just sitting there watching sports. That drives me nuts. If that's all people do when they come home, is sit around and watch TV. Now, it's okay if you have a favorite show, you watch it, whatever, okay. DVR it and watch it when you're in the bathtub or something like that. I don't know. Okay, So if you don't develop yourself and become like a garden, that's what God expects from our lives, then you will become bush. Chaos, no organization, just a big mess. Okay, so this is key. All right, you guys, I'm so sorry. It's 1 o'clock, and now I was really going to get into the meat of the message about the specific mental block of money and resources. But I have 22 slides left just for that. So I really thought I would get to it, and I'm sorry I didn't, but you will have to wait for it, okay? But I hope I gave you guys enough meat and foundation to start something. Thank you. Yes, Debbie, with what you have. Start something, no matter what it is. I want to play with you guys a video. Okay, perfect. And I hope I can do this right. Papa Miles is the best. I was trained by the best. There is no doubt about it. I wish I could make this larger, but I can't. But I'm going to try to screen share with you guys a video of Papa. If you can't see it that well, listen to what he says. Listen to the principles. Okay, once you hear it, listen to the principles that he's saying. This is when he came to Naples. The first time he came to Naples and spoke to my community, I never even invited him. He called me, came on his own. I never once asked him to come, but he came. That's God. You know God is in it, and it was absolutely amazing. So listen to the principles that are found with this short video Papa did at my hotel after our meeting. He did for me, for the embassy, and what we're doing at Kingdom Community. So listen to these words, and this was in 2011. Okay, let me try to do this.
Hello, my beloved family here at the embassy. I am so...
Hold on. Let me do screen share first. Hold on. Bear with me, guys. Over here. Yes, that's why. Nope. Uh-oh. Let me try again. I did it wrong. Here we go. I think I got it now. Ready? Here we go.
Excited about what God is doing here in Naples, Florida. As a matter of fact, you are a part of a growing family that's going to expand and explode throughout the entire city of Naples. Remember, every great thing begins in a manger. Every great human begins as an embryo. And the embassy is about to become a worldwide impact. So remember, you are part of something big. Think big, dream big, because in the kingdom of God, nothing is small. And this is my prayer for you. Seek first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and everything he promised you will be added to you. Congratulations to my beloved family and my great disciple and great apostle of the kingdom here in this area, Sister Trista, and the entire ministry there, Brother Matthew, Brother...
Okay, I don't know if you guys could see it, but did you hear it? Did you guys hear it? Debbie was showing you couldn't see it, but hopefully you guys heard that. He said, everything great starts out small. Jesus started out in a manger. Every human starts out as an embryo. Okay, so that's the whole thinking behind my motto, dream big. Good, you guys heard it. Dream big, build small. Start small. That's how God operates, okay? And he works with us through the process, but it's a process. So it's very important you understand, you go through the process, because you don't want to just build this big, huge, crazy vision, and there's going to be so many problems, so many hurdles, listen, roadblocks are normal. Expect obstacles, but you want them on a small scale first, so you can learn to manage them as you go. You don't want to start big. Most people who start big fail. Nothing great comes from big. You start small, and you grow with the process. So I encourage you guys, work on your vision. You haven't done the School of Influence. You start at level 1 about identity, then your purpose, then your vision. It's so important. So we will get to the meat of the message next webinar in 2 weeks. I'm so sorry. You guys will have to wait for it. But at least in the meantime, plan. Write down something. Start somewhere, okay? Go outside for a few minutes. I find when I do it in nature, it's most beneficial. Like, I like to go under the big open sky because then I dream as big as I can, and just go somewhere, to the park for a picnic, take 30 minutes, go somewhere, do something, and just dream. Bring blank paper, bring a journal, whatever it is, start planning your life now. And I'll see you guys at the top and in 2 weeks. All right. Good seeing everybody. Bye. Bye, guys. Bye, Jay, Ada, Maurice. You guys are welcome. Karen, Victor. Yes, good. I'm glad you guys got it.